The cedar chest sat open in the middle of the half-packed living room, empty. The letters. 18 years of Barbara's handwriting were gone.
You are back. I was just organizing. The letters, I think they fell out. I've been looking everywhere.
Fell out of a latched chest.
He didn't argue. His gaze drifted to the window, where a thin line of smoke still rose from the backyard fire pit.
She burned them. The smoke still hangs in the air.
It's just paper, Anthony. It's not like they were important. We're starting fresh.
He turned back to her, face blank. The set of his jaw said everything.
Why are you looking at me like that?
He didn't answer. He walked to the chest, lowered the lid with careful hands, and pressed the latch shut. Outside, the smoke had faded to a pale ghost against the evening sky. Barbara had written those letters from the first year of their marriage until the last. Every anniversary, every random Tuesday. 18 years of love on paper. She wrote them at the kitchen table, in the garden, by lamplight when she couldn't sleep. He never threw a single one away. He kept them in a cedar chest his grandfather had built. 312 pages, tied with blue ribbon. Barbara died in 2015. Cancer took her in 6 months. Anthony held her hand, then held a letter she'd written the week before. He read that letter every night for a year. He'd trace her handwriting with his fingertip, as if he could feel her pulse in the ink. 3 years later, he married Pamela. She was practical and sharp, but she'd bristle whenever Barbara's name came up. "You can't live in the past," she'd say, eyeing the chest. To Anthony, those words meant she didn't understand. The past was all he had left. From the beginning, Pamela resented Barbara's memory. She saw the letters as a ghost in their marriage, a woman she could never compete with. Now the chest was empty. The fire pit had cooled, and Anthony stood in the silence, knowing what he'd lost and what he'd kept, because a man who has loved once never truly lets go. And a woman who burns words never understands that ink has a way of surviving. In 2019, on the 4th anniversary of Barbara's death, Anthony locked himself in his study for an entire weekend. He set up a flatbed scanner, stacked the letters beside it, and began. One by one, he lifted each page from the bundles, handling them like relics. The green scanning light captured every word, every smudge of ink, every tear stain. He created a private cloud folder called Barbara Letters and uploaded each scan as it finished.
This way, nothing can touch them. Not fire, not time, not anyone's jealousy.
For 2 days, he barely ate or slept, driven by a quiet desperation to finish. By Sunday night, 312 files sat in the folder, every page preserved perfectly. He told no one. Not Pamela, not his children. This was his secret, his safeguard. Then he locked the account, powered down the scanner, and placed the originals back in the chest as if nothing had happened. That night, after Pamela went to bed, Anthony sat in the dark of his study and opened the old laptop. He entered the cloud account she didn't know about. The folder labeled Barbara Letters was still there. 312 scanned pages untouched. He typed "trust" into the search bar, and 2 letters appeared on the screen. They were written during a difficult year, when she reminded him that honesty was the only thing worth building on.
She wrote, "Trust isn't believing someone will never hurt you. It's believing they'll tell you the truth when it matters."
He printed both letters, the pages emerging warm from the machine. From a packing box, he pulled out 2 wooden frames meant for family photos. Carefully, he centered each letter behind the glass, smoothing out the paper. When he was done, he held one up, and a calm settled in his chest. This was only the beginning. The house filled with boxes labeled in black marker. Pamela moved through the rooms like a general, pointing at things to throw away.
That old chest. We're not taking it. It'll just gather dust in the new place.
She's already forgotten what she burned inside it.
Anthony lifted a flat box from his study and wrote "framed, fragile" on the side with a steady hand.
More old junk. You are not bringing all that sentimental clutter, are you?
She'll understand soon enough.
He placed the box in the pile near the door, between the dishes and the winter coats and pressed down the tape.
I still say it's wasteful to keep things that serve no purpose. The past is the past.
Anthony said nothing. He just taped the box shut, twice over, until the seal was thick and unbreakable. When she turned away, his expression never changed. But his eyes flicked toward the hallway of the new house, already measuring the wall. That evening, as the last of the packing tape was rolled up, a quiet knock came at the front door.
Anthony, I need to show you something. It's from this afternoon, and I think you should see it.
What's going on, Donna? You look like you've seen something terrible.
She led him inside, past a few stacked boxes, and stopped at the kitchen window overlooking his backyard.
I was washing dishes when I saw the smoke, so I picked up my phone and started recording.
She held out her phone, and he watched. The video was sharp and undeniable. On the screen, Pamela stood at the fire pit, feeding letters into the flames one by one.
I am so sorry, Anthony. I saved the video. Do you want a copy?
He had proof now. Undeniable. Recorded proof of what she had done. Yes, Donna, thank you. This is more helpful than you'll ever know.
The next morning, while Pamela ran errands, Anthony walked into the law office and laid everything out on the table.
She burned 312 handwritten letters from my late wife. I have video evidence and a witness.
The lawyer drafted a petition for dissolution of marriage, citing destruction of irreplaceable personal property. The document listed the evidence: the scanned letters still in his cloud account, the video, the witness. He signed the divorce papers with a steady hand, his signature firm and unhesitating.
There was no going back now, and he didn't want to.
He met Donna at a notary's office the next afternoon, where she recounted what she had witnessed. She signed the sworn statement with a look of firm resolve.
I'll testify if I have to. She had no right.
The papers were filed that afternoon. All that remained was to wait for the right moment to serve her. The moving van pulled up to the new house early Saturday morning, while movers carried boxes to every room. Anthony found the hallway empty and quiet. He retrieved the flat box marked framed, fragile, and slit the tape with his pocket knife. He held one frame against the wall at eye level, then marked the spot with a pencil. The hammer struck the nail 4 times, solid and deliberate. He hung each frame and used a level until the bubble centered perfectly.
These won't come down, not ever.
He stepped back. The letters glowed in the afternoon light that filled the hallway. For a moment, he let himself stand in the quiet, the only sound the distant shuffle of movers. Before long, Pamela would walk through that hallway. And when she did, everything would change. It happened just after the movers left. Pamela came through the front door with a box of kitchen utensils, and her footsteps stopped in the hallway.
What are those?
Letters from Barbara. I printed them from the scans I made years ago.
Scans? You had copies? And you've hung them on the wall like some shrine?
They're staying right where they are.
Take them down, Anthony, right now. This is our house, not a museum for your dead wife.
No.
You are choosing her over me again. I am your wife, and you are disrespecting everything we've built.
The only thing being disrespected is the truth, and you know exactly what I mean.
She froze. For a single second, the mask slipped, and he saw the raw fear in her eyes.
You burned the originals, Pamela. These are just prints.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. I told you, they fell out during packing.
They fell out of a latched chest and landed in the fire pit, perfectly. Every page tied in ribbons.
She looked toward the window at the end of the hallway, the same view that Donna had from her kitchen.
It was an accident. I didn't mean for it to happen that way.
You didn't mean to burn all 312 pages, one by one, standing over them until only ash remained?
I was protecting us. She's dead, and you can't let her go.
This isn't about letting go. It's about trust and honesty, something you never understood.
The words from Barbara's letter, "Trust isn't believing someone will never hurt you," seemed to echo through the hallway, louder than any accusation.
I didn't mean it, Anthony. You have to believe me. It just happened.
He gave her nothing, just unblinking patience as if he'd waited years for this.
She's been gone for years, and you still choose her over me. I am right here.
This isn't about choosing, it's about what you destroyed.
Prove it. It's your word against mine.
He almost smiled. In that half smile, she saw a confidence that didn't need to argue. Her legs gave way. She dropped to her knees, the fight draining out of her. He stepped back, not leaving, but showing he wouldn't catch her. Not this time. He had proof. But she wasn't ready for it. Not yet. She looked up, realizing he was no longer her husband. He was the keeper of her lie. From a box labeled Documents, Anthony pulled a thick manila folder. He'd prepared it days ago.
You wanted proof. Here it is.
She took it with trembling hands and opened the cover. The first page was a scanned letter in Barbara's handwriting. Behind it, page after page. A lifetime of words she thought she'd destroyed.
All 312 pages. Every letter she ever wrote me.
The first words she saw were, "Trust isn't believing someone will never hurt you. It's believing they'll tell you the truth when it matters." She turned the pages, each one a blow. Her breathing grew shallow. He didn't move. He let her drown in the evidence. For a full minute, the only sound was the whisper of paper. Then she looked up, and he saw the last shred of denial leave her face. He didn't take the folder back. He simply nodded toward the tab at the very back. She turned past the last letter and found a different kind of paper. Legal weight, official seal. The heading read, "Petition for dissolution of marriage. Grounds, destruction of irreplaceable personal property." Her fingers traced the signature at the bottom. His name, already signed.
Divorce. You filed for divorce?
Days ago. Keep reading.
Behind the divorce filing was a notarized affidavit. The name at the bottom, Donna. The statement read, "I observed Pamela Reeves feeding handwritten letters into the fire pit. I recorded the entire act on my phone." Pamela's hands shook so hard the pages rattled. She looked from the documents to Anthony's unwavering eyes, searching for a way out. There was none. Anthony pulled his smartphone from his back pocket, unlocked it, and tapped the video file.
Donna filmed you from her kitchen window. Watch.
The video was steady, shot through a window pane. Smoke curled into a blue sky. Then she appeared on screen, her back to the camera, holding a ribbon-tied bundle. She fed the letters one by one, and the flames accepted each one eagerly. Pamela stared at her own image on the small screen. Her lips moved, but no sound came. The video reached the moment when she turned and looked almost directly toward the lens.
The affidavit cites this exact footage, dated, time-stamped, and now in the court record.
She dropped the folder. It hit the floor with a thud, papers scattering across the hallway. She had no words left. Only the hollow silence of a lie that had finally collapsed.
I did it for us, Anthony, so we could move on, without her shadow in every room.
No, you did it to erase her. That's not moving on. That's denial dressed up as rebirth.
She shook her head, but the lie had no more room to land.
You knew what those letters meant. You knew, and you still burn them.
I was jealous. Is that what you want to hear? I couldn't stand being second to a ghost.
You were never second. You just never understood that love isn't a ranking.
She sank against the wall, the fight finally gone from her spine. Above her, the two framed letters hung steady, as if Barbara's words still held up the walls.
I loved you, but love can't survive when trust is treated as optional.
She cried without sound, the truth of what she'd done finally etched into her skin.
You have two choices. Leave now with the divorce as I've filed it, or fight me in court where that video will be played.
Anthony, please. This is our life. We can fix this.
There's nothing left to fix. You made sure of that the moment you lit the first match.
She looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded, a single, defeated dip of her chin. She pushed off the wall and walked down the hall, her steps heavy, not looking back. He didn't move until he heard the bedroom door close. He knelt and gathered the scattered pages, stacking them neatly on the hallway table. Then he raised his eyes to the framed letters. Barbara's words still glowed in the fading light.
You were right, Barbara. Trust is everything.
The hard part was over. But the silence that followed would be its own kind of grief. In the bedroom, she flung clothes into a suitcase. She didn't fold a single item, just grabbed and stuffed with shaking hands. The car engine rumbled. He heard the door thud shut, and then the tires crunched over the gravel. Anthony stood at the living room window, his palm flat against the cold glass. The taillights drifted down the street, 2 red stars fading into the dusk. He watched until they were gone. Then he kept watching, as if expecting the car to reappear. The house settled into a quiet so deep it almost hummed. He thought about the years of quiet resentment, the slow erosion of trust. But standing there, he didn't feel anger. He felt something closer to release. He turned from the window and walked to the hallway. The letters were still there. That was the only certainty he needed tonight. He stood before the framed letters, close enough to see the grain in the paper. His reflection ghosted across the glass, half his face, half Barbara's words. He lifted a hand and touched the cool surface, as if reaching through time.
I kept my promise. They're still here.
From the shelf beside the hallway, he lifted a small photo of Barbara, the one taken in the garden, her smile eternal. He placed it gently on the table beneath the frames so she could see the letters he'd saved. The silence was full, not empty. It held decades. For the first time in years, he didn't feel divided. He felt whole. The letters didn't ask anything of him. They just were. And in their presence, he allowed himself the one thing he'd denied for so long: peace. A soft knock at the front door broke the stillness. Anthony set the photo down and walked over. He opened the door to find Donna standing on the step, her face full of gentle concern.
I saw the car leave. I just wanted to make sure you are all right.
I am more than all right, Donna. It's over.
She glanced past him, catching sight of the framed letters glowing softly in the hallway light.
You did the right thing. She was wrong to burn them.
I know. And now she knows it too.
They stood for a moment, 2 neighbors who had shared a heavy secret. No more words were needed. She squeezed his arm lightly and turned to walk down the path. No tears, no drama, just a neighbor's quiet respect. Anthony closed the door and walked to his old chair. The room was dark, but he didn't turn on a lamp. He just sat, letting the silence settle. In the dark, he pulled out his phone and tapped the old cloud account. The folder opened, and he began to scroll through the scanned pages, just as he had done 100 times. He stopped on a letter she had written on their 5th anniversary. The paper had yellowed even in the scan.
Love is not a feeling. It's a choice you make every morning, and I choose you again.
His voice was rough, unused, but steady. He scrolled further and stopped at the letter she'd written about trust and honesty. Trust isn't believing someone will never hurt you. It's believing they'll tell you the truth when it matters. He set the phone down on his knee, the screen still glowing. The words hung in the quiet, no longer an accusation but a comfort. He closed his eyes and let the silence wrap around him like a blanket. They say memory fades, but ink, even digitized ink, has a stubborn life. Anthony remained in the chair, the phone dark now, but his mind full of her words. The letter Barbara wrote about trust had become the foundation of his final decision. He had once believed the letters were lost, but they had only changed form. Pamela had tried to erase a life with fire, not realizing that love built on truth cannot be burned, because trust, once documented, becomes more than a memory. It becomes evidence, and evidence, as she had discovered, can reorder a life with the weight of absolute fact. He opened his eyes and looked toward the hallway. The letters on the wall were still there. They would remain, not as a shrine to grief, but as a testament to love that outlasts betrayal. And in the silence, Anthony understood. Some things are proof against fire. Morning light slipped through the hallway window, catching the dust in slow golden spirals. The framed letters glowed on the wall, the handwritten words etched like a promise kept. Anthony appeared in the doorway, still in his faded blue shirt, his feet bare against the cool floor. He walked over and stood before the letters, just looking. Then, slowly, the corner of his mouth lifted. A small, genuine smile. He reached up, not to adjust the frame, but just to brush the wood with his fingertip. Beside him, the small photo of Barbara caught the morning light, her smile as warm as ever. He turned and walked back to the living room, where boxes still stacked high, but they didn't feel heavy anymore. He sat in his old chair and looked toward the hallway, where the letters were still visible, still glowing. The house was quiet, and for the first time in a long while, so was he.